So here's my new tattoo. I started this back in November and I did roughly 2 to 3 sessions per month because my tattoo artist is pretty popular and busy. And end of March, I was finally able to finish it. So now I could share the meaning of it with you. It's not so much a collection of different pieces as much as it's a story that I want to keep with me and never forget. Now, just before continuing with this movie, this is not going to be a super fun video. I'm going to be dipping into some of the darker parts of my past. So if you're not in a great place right now, I wouldn't recommend watching it. There is a happy ending to it in the end, but the journey there was a little bit painful, so just be forewarned. Here we go. So let's start with my first tattoo that I got when I was 18. It's on this arm right here. It's of space, and it's suns and moons and planets and meteors and life and color and vibrancy. And I find that a lot of the space tattoos that I've seen on other people are very bright and optimistic. You see space as teeming with opportunity and full of life and wonder and awe. But space isn't really like that. Space is mostly space. It's empty and boundless and bare and inhospitable and really dark and cold and shitty. And that's where this tattoo starts. I went through a really rough period of my life in university. It was really rough. I was once very hopeful. I was inspired. I was teeming with optimism at what the world and what the universe had out there for me. But I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a purpose. I was profoundly and disturbingly alone and introverted. I didn't have a single friend or anybody I could really talk to about anything. But I saw it all around me. I saw people talking to each other, going out with each other, groups of people. But I wasn't part of any of that. And I was abysmally depressed. And I could look out there and I could see glimmers of hope and possibility, but all of it was out of my reach. And what I was left with was bleak. I didn't have anyone I could talk to, so I would spend my midnights, almost every midnight, just talking to the sky and memorizing poetry. I would memorize Shelley and Wordsworth and Milton and Shakespeare, and I would try to find words that could better understand myself or the human spirit, or understand something that could make me feel better about why I'm here and why I'm so alone. But I couldn't really find any answers. And on my talks with the sky, I would just look at the stars and I would feel so much more alone and so much more empty. And that's where this tattoo begins. I remember the very last talk I had with the sky. And I remember telling it that we're through. However this universe was made, I didn't find a purpose in it. I didn't find any joy in it. I only found myself being very unhappy in it. So I decided that I wanted out. And I made up my mind that night to make a decision that can't be unmade. Told you this was going to be a shitty video. So that night that I had my last conversation with the sky was a very big change in my life, because I'm not sure if somebody heard it, but something happened. And this is where things are going to get slightly more nerdy for a bit. Simulation theory is something that I engage with. If you're as old as I am, think about how much video games have changed in our lives. I went from playing Pac-Man to Skyrim. Computers have grown so much stronger over the past couple of decades, and programming has followed suit. How much longer will it be until a computer is strong enough to simulate human consciousness? Maybe even simulate a universe. And once that happens, how will anybody within the simulation be able to tell if it's a simulation or not? So that talk that I had with the sky, somebody listened. Whoever was playing the game knew that I was about to stop playing the game altogether. And so they added a line of code. And that's this line of code right here. It's binary. If you know a little bit about computer languages, then binary is just about as basic as it gets. It's just zeros and ones. 0 represents off, 1 represents on. And I felt that my life was all zeros. I felt that I was all off. But this line right here changed the program of my life. And if you can't read binary, I'm going to read it for you. It's Martina. Martina became a big part of my life as soon as I had that talk with the sky. It's a great line of code, might I add. Possibly the best line of code ever. I married that line of code, and I will stay with that line of code as long as I possibly can, because it rocks. On this part of my tattoo, I have a lot of waves, tidal waves. I haven't really told a lot of people this, but every month or 2 months or so, I have this recurring dream of tidal waves that I'm running away from as it destroys and wipes away everything in my life. My neighborhood and my house and everything like that. And this is where the tattoo makes a very big change. Martina and I have nicknames for each other. We call each other duckies. So here we are, 2 duckies. She's the pretty one with all the color, and she's holding the umbrella above me, protecting me from all the shit that's above it. And we're floating calmly on very still waters together. Ooh, if that last part of the video was difficult to talk about, so is this. Okay, I don't know if you could see it as much as I can. You definitely can't see it as much as I can, but Martina has just the most beautiful soul in her that I've ever come across. She's dealing with so much pain, more pain than anyone I've ever met, and she's still so vibrant and so inspiring. And it's because of her that I have color in my life. It's her color that grows out of her and grows into my hand and lets me do something with my life that I feel happy about, that I feel is worth it. I feel creative. I feel like I can make something in this world, and I can make something of myself because of her. I really like the watercolors in this. It really reminds me of one of my favorite pictures that I have of Martina in our time in Chicago. It's a really pretty picture. So that's my story. I can't ever forget that. And sometimes I do, sometimes I get overwhelmed. And then I remember what I'm living my life for, who I'm living my life for. And then I can get back to it. From my point of view, the way that I look down at this, I could see everything that I came from, and I could see where I am today. I chose to get this tattoo for another reason as well, because Martina, as some of you may know, lives in chronic pain. Just every second of every day is relentless pain for her. And she'll hide it on camera, and she'll hide it in front of others, and she'll hide it in front of me, but she's suffering, and I know she is. If she's sitting or standing or laying down, she could never actually be comfortable. So I wanted to put myself through something similar, because for those of you that have tattoos, you know that they're not fun to get. They hurt like hell. This wrist part was insane. The armpit area, sweet hell. But I put myself through this pain, through many hours of it, so I could try to put myself in Martina's shoes for a bit. I tried to focus when I was going through this pain. I was trying to be decent when I was going through this pain. I tried to carry on a conversation with the tattoo artist. It was a stupid conversation I had mostly about how much pain I was in, but I hope that through going through this, I could empathize a little bit more with Martina. Well, this is the part that's going to be tough for me to say. So our previous parts were tough. This is the tough part. Okay, here we go. Whew, The last reason that I got this tattoo wasn't just for me to remember, but for Martina to remember, because she's a lot sicker now than she was when we first got married. And sometimes when she's not doing well, she feels very guilty, and she apologizes for being so sick. Oh boy. She sometimes feels that she tricked me into marrying her. Okay, do this again. Okay, do this again.
You're okay, Ducky.
Okay.
No, you're okay. Look there.
I want her to see this tattoo and to remember that she didn't trick me, that she saved me, and I need her to remember how much she's done for me. I owe her my life, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to pay her back. Oh man. So that's it. There's my video. I didn't want to cry this much. Oh, I didn't want it to be this kind of video. So I hope that she doesn't feel guilty when she sees this tattoo. Oh, you can't cry yourself. No.
I can't come hug you because I'm wearing pajamas and I don't have a bra on.
Point is, I don't ever want her to feel guilty for being sick around me, but she's definitely going to find another way to feel guilty. But don't worry, everyone. I still have 3 more limbs that I could tattoo on. Actually,
Sailor Moon duck it is.
I think it's more like 4 limbs.
Ducky.
Because, let's admit it, it is pretty huge. Hold on, I gotta blow it right now. Let's talk about my nose. Of course, why? What were you thinking? Get your mind out of the gutter. Okay, so that's it for this super happy video. Wasn't that great to watch? I'm so glad that I shared this. If you want to learn more about tattoos in Japan, we did another video about that. No sobbing, no crying in that one. Super lighthearted video. So click on the link here if you want to learn about tattoo culture in Japan.
Hey, Ducky,
I'm a wreck. Yes, my
love.
love.
Say something important, okay?
Okay.
Getting a tattoo done that has meaning is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And you sharing it with people was really hard.
There you go.
You know? You're always Captain Mr. Tough, you know, oh, I lost this challenge, I want these cookies, but I know you're a big softie.
I want to cry every time I lose in cookie battles.
I know you do.
Okay, that's it. I'm sweating from the eyes and the nose and the pits. Thanks for watching.